Hello everyone. Good morning, and I hope you are having a great time here. Um, Today we will be talking about mostly around the how to scale and democratize AI across the enterprise, and in terms of strategy, what you might need to do as an enterprise to really realize the AI. And AI per se doesn't need any introduction, because selling to your business why AI is problem already solved. A lot of companies and enterprises are doing POCs. But what I'm going to talk here, walk you through is based on our experiences so far, before Gen AI and after Gen AI, what kind of pragmatic strategies and approach and the blueprint that needs to put in place for you to really make AI your enterprise as AI first enterprise, as well as realize your AI vision. Okay, and with that, let me get into the details. See, actually, what we would like to share from an Infosys standpoint is we have seen the first wave of transformation where most of the enterprises were focusing mostly around getting their data ready for data-driven enterprises, and a lot of them were moving to the data from their on-prem to cloud. And still there are enterprises which still they are doing. And then as well, they are taking the experiences, digital experiences, focusing on the digital. And then the data economy is one critical aspect which we as an Infosys were pioneering this. But most of the focus is centered around setting up your digital foundation, digital core. And what we have now, where we are is, if you really see the pivot of it, the AI, cloud, and the digital are actually converging, and there is a consumerization of AI is happening across the enterprise. So that means the enterprises needs to move from digital, what we call as a digital foundation or a digital core, to move towards their AI core. So that means what do they really need is how they need to think and reimagine to become AI native. One of the key aspects of being AI native, what we call as is, how to make their data ready for AI, seed that AI core engine, what we call as a cognitive core. And then as well, how do they need to rethink their business applications, experiences, and do kind of think it like a platform, like a business capability, not like an use cases. And the third critical aspect is horizontal integration. If you are a retail, how you can horizontally integrate with your partners, being a financial services or being a media services or being a transportation services, right? So that's the kind of a journey and pivot what we see that enterprises, there are certain enterprises where we are working with, they are already into this journey. And we would also see this vision would realize as an enterprise to strategize your AI strategy, rethinking your AI strategy to really scale and democratize across the enterprises. One of the key aspects we as an Infosys that which we are consistently working is, as I was discussing, like moving from a digital core to the cognitive core, there are critical aspects from the outcomes that these initiatives needs to drive. One is foremost efficiencies in your processes. Say for example, you are a mortgage, or whether you are talking about supply chain, whether you are talking about planning, workforce allocation, how do you bring the efficiencies? The second aspect is looking at the growth avenues for you to accelerate the growth, in terms of new markets and increasing your retailability of the products or increasing the customer growth rates. And then how do you build a connected ecosystem? There are underpinning things like a digital foundations that you have, that is where your focus is around getting your data and other aspects. But most of the time so far what we have invested is in the analytical data, data warehouses and other things. But for you to really go from a cognitive core to what we call as the AI core, that's where the Infosys Topaz comes into play, is getting your entire data ready for AI. So that means user-generated content, your unstructured data, your partner data, data sitting in your content store, data sitting in your confluences. Everything is going to be very critical, and managing that data or getting that data right is going to be very critical. And most of you would have been, during these sessions, you have seen people have already solved in terms of the LLMs, mixture of experts. But for you to get the AI to work, I think getting the right data and the fingerprinting, because we have cataloged the structured data, how we are going to catalog the unstructured data, entitlement, and all those things are going to be very, very critical for you to get there. Second aspect, as part of what we are suggesting is what we are focusing on is primarily centered around the business transformation. This is one critical thing because AI has been there for a while, and most of them were doing use cases very specific to, for example, marketing, very specific to campaign, personalization, or specific areas of automation. But what people need to really reimagine now is how to build this as a capability. And you can create these AI products as a micro apps or a micro products to drive the value and consumerization aspect of it. Like think like a Apple ecosystem where you have an iOS, business OS, and then you have the Mac of the world, iPhone of the world, and the apps of the world. Think it in the similar line for you to really realize the value of the AI initiatives and then really taking to the last mile from a democratization standpoint. And the third aspect that's going to be very critical, and one of the critical offering of us, is the data and AI governance. See, while talk and easy, technology is much easier, but when you're really talking about within an enterprise, within the regions, cross regions, translations, and the prunity, precision aspect of it, security aspect of it, it's going to be at the most important. That's where some of the new age thinking, new age realizations, blueprints like smart data fingerprinting and other things are going to be very, very critical for you to really realize the data and AI governance, while the partners, the technology companies like Databricks and others are going to come up with all this Unity catalog, managing. But actually realizing and making it more business-centric is going to be very, very critical, because you are moving away from set of data stewards where you are going to move more towards a participative governance, managing all the way down from ideation and incubation till the realization and continuously monitoring the value. The last aspect is the measure and the value. This is something people have not thought through, because initially when you talk about AI strategy, what happens is somebody comes with a great idea, content creation is a great idea, or say, for example, they want to create a BI solution with a chat, nice looking dashboards, right? But when you are really talking about value for an AI, how you create a measurement framework for you all the way down from the ideation, and how do you select the right use cases or the right business problems, right business thing? How do you experiment to see whether this is the right problem for you? And then how do you continuously kind of manage it and operationalize it and manage in a way, govern it in a way so that it continuously drives the value around either unlocking efficiencies or in terms of new growth avenues, or you are actually creating a new set of AI-driven products or AI-driven connected services. An example could be where a banking translation into the payment plus banking domain, where in a retailer or a products servitization of their products. These are great examples, right? But for you to create that measurement framework is also very, very critical from a value measurement standpoint. What from a journey that we are seeing is, people, for you to really realize the AI strategy to scale the AI, there needs to be a pragmatic approach. So for some of the clients with whom we are working, if I take an example of a retail client, a large retail client, where the entire product onboarding, product descriptions onboarding, and then private labeling, and then actually stuff, right? So that's where you are going to start with a cognitive core, what we means, where you are going to seed the cognitive core, where it will help you for a better decisions. It could be related to the product attributions, it could be related to, for example, even sustainability, or in the case of, if I take some banking examples like, credit assessments, these are great examples where the human is going to augment with the AI. But as you progress, this is where your business capability transformation actually starts. But when you come to the next level, what AI is going to start augmenting the human. That's where you will start creating multiple AI twins, depends upon the functions. That's where you need to reimagine your business as a platform. So vertical integration is very, very critical, like be it marketing, be it loan processing, be it underwriting, be it supply chain, be it procurement planning. You have to think that as a platform, and that's where you will end up realizing twins. Like a digital twin, you will start realizing AI twins, actually creating that vertical integrated control functions so that it can integrate multiple twins or it can respond multiple twins to realize business as a platform. It could be your, if you take procurement as an example, bringing in your direct and indirect spend and your entire vendor onboarding processes as part of procurement, looking at those contracts analysis. How do you kind of bring this whole perspective functions into a platform and capability is going to be very, very critical actually. And the last aspect is that how you are going to transform, that's where the AI products and services, where you are going to do the horizontal integration. That's where the ecosystem is going to become more autonomous. So what we really mean by that is, so now say for example, you as a retailer or you as a manufacturer, you are not going to not only amplify your products, you are going to horizontally integrate with your partners, with your competitors to create new set of services which are intelligent services. Say for example, like family tech businesses, new set of businesses where you will transform yourself into a tech ecosystem or an AI ecosystem. And that's where the new services transformation, servitization of a manufacturing or consumerization of a banking, all those things makes a very, very critical. To really help or lead in this way, what we have done is, we have kind of harnessed all our experience and as well by interacting with the businesses, we kind of created a playbook. And if you really look at this playbook, what we are seeing is, saying a strategy or identifying a use case is set and done. What is the pragmatic way of approaching this? That's where this playbook really helps. And if you see in the playbook, starting from the left to right, the left part is actually identifying about the business value map. That's where we suggest what we call as 3 measurement framework, where you look at your business measurement, your readiness, your adoption likelihood, and the value that you are going to get, so that you have a scientific way or you have a fact-based decisioning of what you are selecting, which will drive you the prioritization of those business processes or the business capabilities. The second aspect is setting and done a lot of these infrastructures and the tools, and lot of models are going to evolve, right? So models are perishable, but what is going to really stay is the compounded AI system that you are going to put in place, the business capabilities that you are going to put in place. That's where your architecture and tech strategy should drive, rather trying to create a technical tooling integrations, right? How do you create a compounded AI systems put together? And then the second aspect, as I touched upon, is how do you bring data and knowledge for AI? What I really meant is, while the semantics of your business are critical, you need to also think through about how do you bring all forms of data, including the user-generated contents, including the unstructured contents, including your code as a content, including your machine-generated content, and then the analytical data that which we all been working for years to move into cloud in some form of cloud data warehouse, into a fabric, and the fingerprinting and cataloging of that information, because that is going to be the second critical aspect. If you really look at first tower is more about business prioritization, setting up a Second tower is more about building those capabilities and compound systems and the data part. And then responsible by design. What we mean by responsible by design is it cannot be thought through like a Lego blocks, but rather you need to introduce it as part of when you are thinking about the data processing itself, unstructured data processing itself. When we talk about vector search, smart knowledge search, so those things are going to be very critical. And then how do you really write it as a micro change rather than a macro change so that your business can really adopt it faster. With that, this also requires rethinking of our blueprint, not like a traditional blueprint. And if you really look at in the first side is the capabilities that you need. As I was talking, a smart data and AI foundation, a cognitive core, and an AI network. What you are seeing in the second thing is how you need to really rethink your solution blueprint. You start with a transformation of your systems. That's where the cognitive ITOS comes into play, which takes care of some of those underpinning basics or foundations that I talked about. And then your second aspect is where your business OS comes into play, where you are thinking your business itself as a capability. That's where this your own model as a service, your own assistants, twins, and other things comes into play. And the last aspect is where you are really thinking about the collaboration and the products and services, exchanges, interchange of collaborations going to be very, very critical. And what we have started investing is, if you see on the rightmost side, these are some of the innovations and the solutions that which we are bringing in to accelerate at each part of your blueprint. So that way what it's going to give as an enterprises, these are going to stay as a capability. When the models go from A versus B and some of the aspects are changing, you are not changing the underlying operating system end to end. To put this into perspective, I have just taken an example of mortgage. How do you really rethink, right? So today, when you're really talking about an end-to-end process of a mortgage, depends upon the type of players that you are in. You are going to have different touch points, right? From all the way down from contacting a broker, getting the documents uploaded, and then the what kind of credit assessment process, underwriting process. These are the challenges in terms of time to value and operationalization. And if you really put in the perfects, the center part of it, we talked about the smart data fingerprinting, what that really means. That is what I mean by the data fabric and the knowledge search, where you are bringing the entire data to a perspective, because you cannot make the data right just by looking at the unstructured data. You need to look it into an enterprise data perspective, and then you need to understand the entire details to train your model search, and then bring your cognitive core. Then you can have your AI twins for a loan approver, customer services, which will drive your not only your operational efficiency, but as well as a new stretch of growth, basically. To sum up, I have just rather than talk about it, just a view of how this, with your existing application, rather than creating a new set of chat applications, with your existing application, how this process is going to change. Like put some examples. If you really look at here, all the way down from the address verification processes, any issues in your address changes versus what is there in your systems, and as well any liabilities that you have, which is typically takes for a, if you take a mortgage loan approval process, the system is able to drive most of those things. And if you really talk about here, it also, just in the interest of time, I'm just quickly moving. The system also, actually helps you to be an assistant. Just to give me a second. Sorry. The system also helps you to be an assistant for you to actually understand some of the nuances of it. Sorry, I think. Some of the nuances of it in terms of assisting you where there is a liability, what you need to change. But this is kind of a reimagining your capabilities, experiences, which are very critical when you are really talking about democratizing an AI at scale, where you have rethinking your strategy, rethinking your execution approach, and rethinking your technology strategy to how to derive it as a capability. And some of these are live demos that are available in our booth, so you can very well visit, and we can have a deep connect and exchange on this. But this is a kind of the way how we are as a company driving and helping our clients to democratize and democratize the AI across the enterprise actually.